So here are some of my favorite get yourself out of bed and get your body and brain moving moves. A lot of them are going to be done on our knees. So, grab a pillow, make it comfortable. And if for any reason it's not comfortable for you to be so close down to the ground on your hands, you can raise them up on a chair or on the side of your bed. Anyhow, we're going to get started. So just come onto all fours here. And what we're going to start to do is lift up our feet and just move them side to side. So it's like you're wagging your tail. And just let this motion feel fluid. You can find the momentum in it. And notice how it begins to create some warmth in your pelvis. And how that warmth begins to extend down the thighs and up your spine. And you can start to play with that, taking your hips back and forward as you get more confident. Maybe notice also as your hips drop down, the nature of the motion changes. So we're going to explore that for just a little longer. My only exhortation to you is keep moving. You can play with letting your shoulders get into it a bit, letting the ribs rotate inside the shoulders, or pulling it from your waist. And if your knees feel uncomfortable, just pad them up more. About 4 more. And then stop. Come back to a comfortable position. If that's kneeling for you, great. If that's seated on the floor on something, great. Or maybe it's standing. Take a couple of breaths. Notice if anything's changed. And we'll stay on our butts for the next one. So again, you can do this in a chair, you can do it seated. Legs are mildly crossed if you want, or they can be, feet side by side. Just gonna hold on to our legs and start to rock our waist back and forth now. And as that gets easier and easier, I'm just going to sit down on the floor because that's easier for me. Start to undulate it. And from there, you can start to look at, are some pieces of my back moving more than my others? So I feel right now like I'm stuck here. So I could then focus that movement on where I'm stuck and then start to articulate it with the spine, rolling in just that place. A few more of these. Now we're going to come onto our knees again. We're going to let our knees be a little wider. So it's like a frog. I'm going to take that shape. We're going to open our feet a bit. I'm just going to start to rock the hips back and forth. And you'll notice with all of these, I'm just staying moving. I'm staying within my limits. I'm not forcing anything, but it's constant just touching the edges of my range of motion. And that's a very, very fast way to wake up your joints' proprioception, increase mobility, get the fluid moving in your joints. Start to let your body play with how it's taking gravity, which is a great way to start your day off when you have set relationships with gravity for the most part. Now we'll do some lunge hip circles. So you can do these just standing if you feel stable. You can also do them with your foot up on a chair. I really like this variation. So I get my foot in a chair, and I even have the back of the chair to hold on to. This is no specific chair. You can use whichever one you have around, just make sure it's stable. And then we're just going to start to circle our hips around. See what that circle looks like in your morning. Do at least 10 on each side, so your body has a chance to feel what's not moving and find its own ways to get into that. change directions. I'm just going to show some other options of how you might want to do that. All right, so now I'm standing, I'm taking more weight. Or I could hold right down by my foot and do it lower, stirring the bottom thigh. Pick an option, change it around. It's way better than not doing anything. We'll assume that was about 10. So on the other side, I'll show it on the ground. So I could have my hands on the floor, just circling my butt in the air. And when I figure out what I'm doing, I notice what's working there. And when that gets comfortable, maybe I change it. Maybe I think about bending and straightening my front knee, or doing it more like a tail wag. I can take my knee down to the ground. Or, let's change directions. I could also take it up to standing. One final one for the arms. I'm going to take a downward dog, but we're going to take a narrow downward dog. And again, I could do that on the stool if I didn't want to reach the ground. So I'll start by showing here. I'm just going to rock my weight forward and then take the heels back. So I'm shifting my weight from my hands to my feet. And eventually, I can use that to find some lovely stretches for my hamstrings or my shoulders. And it's a nice way to get your arms up over your head. Showing it on the ground. I can have my knees bent if I want. And I can also start to get fancy, twisting the heels from side to side to get a waist stretch. The operative instruction is keep moving. And then bring yourself up, go make breakfast, carry on with your day better.